Issuing a few more instructions than he normally does. Will need to have his finger on the pulse of this game. Knows that some of these players will need a little bit more guidance from the dugouts to execute his game plan. As Company said, it's about making the most of every minute, but it's also about not getting your head too much. Very easy to do for a young player, very easy for me to warn against it. Wiesbaden are going to give them a test. Deflection on the delivery and well gathered by Stuber. Every little moment to gain a bit of confidence for the young 16-year-old keeper will serve him so well, but that pass, not what he wanted. It's worked to Aidala! And he squeezes the opening goal into the bottom corner. Ibrahim Atiala. Breaks the deadlock for Wiesbaden against Bayern's teenage lineup. A loose pass out from the back. It dropped between Schaaf and Ajayi, and from there Wiesbaden, ruthless. But Stuber had a chance to make amends for the misplaced pass, but couldn't keep the shot out. A day of celebration for Wiesbaden. Ibrahim Atiala gives them more cause for celebration. And the flag up there with the threat of things getting worse for Bayern. That looked like a clear foul from Michael Matosevich. And this is where the test comes in for these young Bayern stars. How do they respond to adversity? How do they respond to the early setback of a goal conceded? Jakob Lewald just caught a late challenge in the 50-50. Wiesbaden wanted advantage played. Played it was not. Of course, when these two sides met in the DFB Pokal in the first round last season, it was Bayern who opened the scoring on that occasion. Bit of flair, draws from Uzenars from the crowd. Wiesbaden looking for a second goal. To add to the one scored by that man as the cross flashes across the face of the goal, but no takers in red. Heel clipped, but it's worked well here for Bayern. Asomo Can he turn back to goal in a real tangle with Lewald? But he found an outlet pass, and now he makes the run through the middle. Asomo making the run. Oh! Looking to get on the end of the move that he started. Great determination from the 16-year-old. Just couldn't get on the end of the cross. As Jordi Gillikins, Jacob Lewald maybe share a word about how tough Bastian Asomo is to handle despite being just 16 years of age. Based on his frame, you wouldn't think he was that age. Now a chance for Bayern from the set piece. First real foray forward as we approach the quarter-hour mark. Good delivery needed, and it landed in a dangerous area at the back post. Touch behind for another corner. Let's go Bayern score a goal. This corner worked short. Ajayi. Back out to Schaaf. Support from Wilson. Plenty of Bayern fans have made the trip to the Britta Arena, almost a 5-hour journey from Munich to Wiesbaden, which is just west of Frankfurt, the financial capital. Good positive run there, rewarded. Simon Schaaf winning the free kick in a very promising position. Who has a free kick in their locker? Just to correct an earlier statement, it is not Rocco Mijatovic who's captaining Bayern today. Instead, it is the oldest player in the starting lineup at 19, Guido Della Rovere. And it looks like the captain has earned the right to take this free kick. Della Rovere, it's over the wall, and well, it had Noah Bourdin worried as he went flying across his goal. In the end, the free kick drifting just off target from the Italian. Lovely technique, needed just a bit more dip and maybe a little bit less whip. And that pass doesn't quite work out for Ajayi. A nice idea looking for Bastian Asomo from Skender Nurai. Looking to work the channels, but that final pass proving difficult to produce. There was a big facet of Vincent Kompany's approach to the season in the previous campaign. He handed senior debuts to several teenage Bayern players. And as mentioned, many of his biggest teenage stars are missing through injury today, but nevertheless, it's a real chance for some of these 16, 17, 18-year-olds to maybe stake a claim to not necessarily feature in the first team or the senior side, but to at least train with them, or maybe go out on loan as Ajayi went flying in, and that was not the cleanest of challenges. As he took out Philipp Hercher and gets the yellow card. He says he got the ball, but I don't think that's a strong claim to be made. Again, the Wiesbaden players may be aware that these Bayern youngsters will be so keen and so intent on proving themselves that they are going to dive into challenges like that. They're going to win or try and win tackles that maybe they wouldn't normally go in for in a pre-season friendly. Free kick for Wiesbaden. Headed up and over. This is well worked by Bayern. Is there a chance at the end of it? Adam El-Char, forced to play the ball backwards. Needs to offer an option and does. Nurai down the wing ahead of him, but that's a nice ball into De La Rovere. Looking for the 1-2. And Vincent Kompany, the Bayern head coach, is not going to expect every move to be played to perfection. Far from it. There'll be other qualities that he's looking for. One of them will be how do his players handle pressure, handle adversity. And how will they really fare against these players for Wiesbaden, many of whom are a lot more seasoned than they are. Of course, Wiesbaden's pre-season preparations began in earnest at the start of the month, given the fact that their season starts on August 8th. They are at home to relegated Preußen Münster in the third tier of German football. And there is a pressure on Daniel Chaine, the head coach, the man who took over in November of 2025, to deliver early in the campaign. And that's why today is a wonderful test, despite the fact that Bayern clearly, of course, are not at full strength, far from it. But his players cannot afford to just go through the motions. And now a chance with the keeper off his line. Oh, it's bounced over. A lucky break for Bayern. Wonderful ingenuity from Tariq Gertsuserin. He sensed the opportunity. That was a very loose pass at the back from Rafael Pavlic. He deserved the reward, if we're honest. The football gods on that occasion favouring Bayern's young keeper. This time it's a Wiesbaden player, drawing the ire of the referee. Fabian Greilinger, as Oluwayi Wilson gets a few extra instructions from Vincent Kompany, given the glorious but ultimately hot conditions. Hydration break needed. Of course, it was, I'd say, all the rage. It was a big feature of the Men's World Cup in North America this summer. Bayern, of course, incredibly well represented, but for the first time in a long time, they did not have a player feature in the final of world football's premier tournament and premier event, won by Spain against Argentina in the final. Everyone taking on a little bit of water, as well as a few instructions from the Belgian boss. Here we see that errant pass that led to the goal. Well worked by Wiesbaden in the end. Ajayi did his best to recover the situation, but couldn't get there in the nick of time against Ibrahim Atiala, who managed to squeeze the ball past Podar Stiuber. But the result secondary to so many other things today for Bayern and Vincent Kompany. Yeah, the best chance that Bayern have had, ultimately coming from set-piece situations. Just looking for a little bit of end product, which of course for Bayern was not a problem last season. 184 goals in 55 games. Let me repeat that, because yes, you heard me correctly. 184 goals in 55 games. First change of the game, Armindo Zeeb is on, and Rafael Pavlic is off, and that is not a like-for-like change, because Pavlic is a centre-back, Zeeb is a striker. It's not the only change that's been made, because I'm just noticing that we've got Filip Pavlic on now, not Rafael Pavlic. So potentially a double substitution there for Bayern. Just trying to work out who Zeeber's come on for. He's got the captain's armband, so it might actually be Guido Della Rovere that's come off. Well, that was a late challenge, and it will be brought back now for the foul on Skender Nuray. Well, a bit of a slip in the mix as well. As a result, an apologetic hand raised. Oh, that was awkward for Ajayi and couldn't deal with the bounce. Bit of space to work with that wide on the right as we approach the half-hour mark at the Britta Arena. Bayern looking for a way back into this game after conceding. And another corner one down by the byline. Taken short, change of angle, corner whipped in, headed clear at the near post. Right. Can't keep the chance alive on that occasion. Ati Alla, the goal scorer, couldn't play the pass or win the ball back for Wiesbaden. Side that finished 9th in the third tier last season, 17 points off of promotion and the top 3. For Bayern, they missed the Bundesliga record for best ever season by just 2 points. Were it not for a draw against Heidenheim, that record would have been theirs. They had to settle for 89 points, 28 wins, 5 draws, and just 1 defeat. Suffered against Bavarian rivals Augsburg. Bayern building on that very impressive first season under Vincent Kompany. Won the Bundesliga in his first campaign, the domestic double in his second as they reclaimed the DFB Pokal for the first time since 2020, about 9 weeks ago in Berlin against Stuttgart. A 3-0 win. All 3 goals scored by a certain Harry Kane. Oh dear me, that's a horror pass. Might be another gift for Wiesbaden, this time not taken. I think it's fair to say no one's expecting perfection from these Bayern teenagers, but Vincent Kompany also will not expect to see passes like that. Well, that clearance, which has put Bayern under pressure again. Ati Alla was waiting at the back post, ready to pounce for his second. Vital interception made, but given away cheaply by Bayern once again. Nurai to Asomo. One back well, and now Bayern look to drive forward, and that looked to be a foul on Tim Binder. Corner comes in right into the mix. Horrible for the young 16-year-old goalkeeper there, David Podar-Stiuber. to try and assert himself in amongst all the bodies in his own box. Wiesbaden trying to make life as uncomfortable as possible, and that was a scything challenge from Max Brandt. I tell you what, doesn't have the feeling of a pre-season friendly. It's being played more like a first-round cup game. Of course, Bayern and Vincent Kompany started today's game with these teenage up-and-comers. He does have some more recognised names on the bench to call upon if needs be. Tom Bischoff, he's the new number 8 after Leon Goretzka's departure. Opened up that number. And Tom Bischoff said he waited to see what Alexander Pavlovich did, but Pavlovich didn't want the number, so Tom Bischoff stepped up. Joining him on the bench, Joao Paulinho, back from his loan spell with Tottenham, which on the one hand could be looked at as rather unsuccessful given the fact that Tottenham only just steered clear of relegation, but from a personal perspective for the Portuguese midfielder, probably not the worst season because he scored some very important goals along the way to keep them up. Got Arion Ibrahimovic back from a loan with Heidenheim, where he was relegated, but ultimately stays on the Bayern books. He extended his contract last season. Sacha Boey is back as well in the ranks, so too Felipe Chavez. Armindo Zeeb is out on the pitch now, and a couple of other youngsters to keep an eye on. Tim Binder, who is on the pitch, Maicon Cardozo, Vincent Manuba, and Filip Pavlic, who's also entered the fray. The number 50 at the back. There's a chance that Vincent Kompany will make half-time changes, so that means that for some this might be the last 9 minutes they get this afternoon to catch the eye. Some of the Bayern substitutes getting a reception from the travelling fans. They are the most supported club in Germany, Bayern München, so wherever they go, they get a fair following that shows up. And the same can be said today at the Britta Arena. Kompany's football, dynamic, fluid. It's a hark back to the likes of Jupp Heynckes and Pep Guardiola, almost a blend of the two of them Pep Guardiola, of course, a coaching mentor for the Belgian. Given the time they spent together with Manchester City, Kompany, the player, Vincent Kompany, working under Pep Guardiola. Something tells me you can't help but learn from a man like that with the mastermind that he has. A pass that needed some hard running from Philipp Hercher, who wasn't quite willing or able to do it. These sides will not be meeting in the first round of the DFB Pokal in the current campaign. Wiesbaden will be taking on Leverkusen on the 22nd of August. Bayern will not be in action until the 2nd of September when they take on VfL Osnabrück. When Wiesbaden are playing Leverkusen in the first round, Bayern will be playing Dortmund in the Franz Beckenbauer Super Cup. Of course, a very professional performance from Wiesbaden so far as well. Had a couple of chances, some self-created, some gifted to them by Bayern to extend their lead, but now it's Bayern with a chance to level the scores. A bundling run through. Binder still going. Shot blocked in the end, and the referee let it go as well. Bayern trying to get the bit between their teeth. Tim Binder gets the ball back. Ball to the byline. Cut back, cut out by the keeper, but it is a corner for their efforts here, Bayern. Let's go, Bayern score a goal. Here's the chance from fans of the record title holders. Corner goes deep, too deep. Nice idea from Tim Binder. In the end, it almost got through the legs of the Wiesbaden keeper, Noah Burda. You can see that many of these Players are so well drilled in the Bayern approach to a game of football. It's a footballing education that will serve them very well, even if it maybe doesn't lead to them breaking through in Bavaria. It's always worth remembering there are plenty of routes to the top. Not everyone will make it with Bayern, but plenty will use what they learn at a club like that to then go on to bigger and better things with perhaps smaller clubs. Time winding down in the first half. Time running out for Bayern to get an equaliser before the break. Asomo just opened up for him. And as many good strikers do, there was only one thought in the mind. Tried to get the shot off. On another occasion, maybe it squeezes past his marker. Instead, Justin Janitsek getting a touch on the ball to take all the danger out of the situation. Atiala, the goal scorer. Switching sides now as Wiesbaden look for a second before half-time. Working it intricately. Being patient. Devilish delivery. It was behind many in red, and in the end, offside flag is up. Bayern's teenagers trying to take their chance to catch the eye of Vincent Kompany. It's a steep learning curve at the highest level. And Wehen Wiesbaden aren't just here to make up the numbers. They're giving Bayern's youngsters a real test, and they have a narrow one-goal lead courtesy of Ibrahim Atiala's opening goal. We go back to Simon Kupfer in the studio. You can see that Bayern have a lot of young up-and-coming players in their ranks, and as a result, Wehen Wiesbaden have reason to celebrate on the club's anniversary. Of course, the players have only been in training for a couple of days. Performance levels were all checked on Monday, and then a few balls kicked out on the pitches at Sabenerstrasse in the last couple of days. But ultimately, we were able to follow those training sessions. Lennart Karl, Serge Gnabry, who we are missing, have been in training as well. Let's take a look at some of the behind-the-scenes footage.
Go, 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 go. Komm. Halten.
62 mitnehmen, auf Rot wechseln. Auch zweimal Film. Und nach rechts nochmal. Einmal den Ball bewahren. Ja, Fußweg. Fire, get out. Let's go. In and out quicker. Quicker. Good.
Let's go, play. Nice, play. Down. Good. Nice, I like it. Play.
Connect.
Genau so. Und die merken.
Nimm den Boden mit als Hilfe. Wenn du hier feste drauf bist und im gleichen Moment passiert nichts. Okay?
Blau. Weiß. Gelb. Rot. Gelb. Ja. Ganz weiche Hände. Ah, jawohl. Gute Klasse, Uli. Ah. Klasse.
Wird schon wieder hart gearbeitet da an der Säbener Straße bei uns.
So lots of hard work being done at Säbener Straße with Bayern's pro players, but of course with some of these young stars that are looking to make their breakthrough. But one person who didn't have a break this summer is now with Martin Sedlacek. It's Christoph Freund, the sporting director. Thank you for your time, Christoph. What's your impression of this first half from this young, very young Bayern team? Yes, an extremely young Bayern team that are playing against grown men. And this is a real men's team. They had a few good phases in the game, but we also saw that a couple of times under pressure they did make mistakes. But ultimately, it was solid, a new experience for many of these youngsters, but very interesting impressions so far. Since the start of the week, we've been able to get impressions from many of the youngsters that have been in training. What's the relationship like with the campus, and how important is it for many of these young players to get the opportunities they're getting? Of course, first and foremost, the communication between club and academy is very important. We come to the consensus to let some of the players train with the senior side. It's been very interesting weeks for many of the people and players involved, for the players to see how things work with the senior squad coming from the campus. But it's all about getting to know each other. It's about keeping things connected between different departments of the club. And the fact is, yeah, these are special weeks. We had about 40 players out on the pitch with all the coaches the other day. And I think ultimately a very good idea. So the World Cup players are starting to return bit by bit. Serge Gnabry, Leonard Carl were both in training today, and they'll be back soon as well. How difficult is it to manage that situation, to make sure that everyone is ready for the start of the season? It's a challenge when everyone comes back from different phases of their preparations. We hope to have everyone back soon. Everyone's on different paths right now and doing individual programs, but the fact is the World Cup players will be back soon and the squad will gradually become more and more complete. But like with the start of every season, it's a challenge. The fact is we've got a lot of national team players, and that shows that we've got a lot of really good players, and ultimately it's something that a club like Bayern handle well, and we'll make sure that we're ready for Dortmund in the Super Cup. A couple of new players from the international level have joined the club as well. Ismail Saibari and Nathaniel Brown, and of course Konrad Leimer signing a contract extension. What more is on the offing? We've got a big squad, but we want to have quality as well, and ultimately have as many players available for the full season. I think in that regard we're very happy and we're very well well set up. One last question to the second half. What can we expect? Can we maybe see some of the senior squad players in the second half? Yes, they're going to come in after the break, and I think we might see a little bit of a different game in the second half, and maybe look forward to a really good football match. Thank you very much. Thank you to Martin and Christoph Freund. And that's it. There has been a contract extension at Säbener Straße. Konrad Laimer, the Austrian international, has signed on until 2029. Has been at the club since 2023. Two-time Bundesliga champion, one-time DFB Pokal winner and one Super Cup winner. And that's once he wants to continue in the future, who was at the World Cup, and we were there for that contract extension.
Ich bin schon oft betont, von Anfang an hier immer happy gewesen. Es macht richtig Spaß hier in der Mannschaft, es macht hier richtig Spaß in München, es macht hier richtig Spaß, Fußball zu spielen, und das war ja von Tag 1 schon so.
Wir freuen uns, dass wir heute jetzt die Unterschriften unter den neuen Vertrag von Conny Laimer gebracht haben. Er hat verlängert bis 2029 und ich denke, das tut dem FC Bayern und der Mannschaft gut, und wir freuen uns alle sehr darüber.
Seine Leistung über die letzten Jahre war einfach herausragend, seine Art und Weise, seine Mentalität. Und Conny bringt das, was wir brauchen, diese Aktivität, diese Intensität mit allem, was dazugehört. Und deswegen sind wir sehr, sehr froh, dass Conny sich entschieden hat, noch länger beim FC Bayern zu bleiben.
Conny ist einfach einer, der immer 100% gibt, der brutale Energie ausstrahlt am Platz, aber auch bei jedem Training, und er ist einfach ein richtig guter Typ auch für die Kabine. Universell einsetzbar und von dem her ganz, ganz ein wichtiger Spieler für den FC Bayern München.
Es ist immer noch sehr surreal, dass man dann hier ist, dass man mit dem Trikot jedes Mal spielt, dass man in dem Stadion auch jedes Mal spielt, weil es so speziell ist. Und ja, man kann es dann auch irgendwie manchmal gar nicht glauben, selbst wenn man jetzt schon 3 Jahre hier spielt, so ungefähr, jetzt sind es nochmal 3 Jahre mehr.
Ich würde ihn als Mr. Zuverlässig beschreiben wollen. Es zeichnet ihn einfach diese Flexibilität aus, dass er immer alles gibt. Er ist ja auch, wenn man ihn auf dem Platz sieht, einfach jemand, der die Linie hoch und runter läuft, nie müde wird, immer fit ist. Und neben dem Platz ist er einfach eine echte Frohnatur. Einer, der eine gute Stimmung verbreitet, aber nicht aufgesetzt, sondern das kommt von innen heraus. Einfach ein guter Typ, eine gute Persönlichkeit, und das tut uns als Bayern gut.
In der Kabine immer positiv, einer, der die Jungs auch an die Hand nimmt, der immer nach vorne schaut. Auch wenn Spiele scheinbar aussichtslos sind, dann ist es immer er, der nochmal marschiert, der nochmal kommt, damit die Mannschaft auch mitreißt. Also er ist auf und neben dem Platz ein typischer Leader. Man hat gesehen, auch die letzten 2 Jahre, wie gut das funktioniert, wie die Mannschaft in sich funktioniert, und von dem her ist es ganz wichtig für die Mannschaft auch zu sehen, wir wollen weiter mit diesem Kern arbeiten, und auch nach außen der FC Bayern zeigt Stärke und bindet seine Leistungsträger langfristig. Also ich bin sehr, sehr froh, dass wir den Kern und solche Spiele wie den Conny langfristig bei uns haben.
Servus, Conny Laimer hier. Ich habe meinen Vertrag verlängert bis 20. Für mich ist es extrem besonders, und man merkt es dann immer wieder mal, wenn man dann vielleicht ein bisschen sogar im Urlaub war und dann wieder zurückkommt, wie speziell das alles ist, das Trikot einfach zu tragen, das Wappen auf der Brust zu haben und einfach für diesen Club und für die ganzen Fans Fußball zu spielen. Und dafür gebe ich Gas, dafür trainiere ich jeden Tag, und es bedeutet ja sehr, sehr, sehr viel für mich.
We are very happy that Konrad Laimer signed a contract extension with Bayern, who, after the World Cup, is still on holiday, but will be back soon enough. The fact is, we're going to go back to the first pre-season friendly of the campaign. One highlight so far, 1 goal scored, courtesy of the host, Wehen Wiesbaden. Ibrahim Atiala, profiting from a mistake made, but a well-worked move in the end from Wiesbaden. And Podas Djuba would have wanted to acquit himself better, but these are the experiences you sometimes need to have to learn at the highest level. Let's not forget he is just 16 years old. Now the senior squad players that were on the bench in the first half are now ready to take to the pitch for the second half. And on the German side of things, we hand back to Martin Sedacek. You are here with me, James Thorogood, your match commentator. Delighted to be joined by you, whether you are watching live or on repeat. This is FC Bayern TV Plus's coverage of what is the first pre-season friendly ahead of the start of the 26-27 campaign. And a man who I'm sure some Bayern fans will remember, Florian Stritzel, is coming on for the second half. He was the man of the match in the DFB Pokal first round tie between these two sides last season. Pulled off a number of absolutely stunning saves to keep his side in the game, including a penalty save to deny a certain Harry Kane. But it was Harry Kane in the 94th minute that found a way to a winner. And as a result, Bayern went on to book their spot in the second round. It was the start of their latest DFB Pokal campaign that ended in triumph in the capital against the reigning title holders Stuttgart. Wiesbaden and their players chomping at the bit. Something tells me that Bayern won't be the only team that make changes at the break. The fact is, these fans have had something to cheer about already. They'd love a little bit more in the second half to get behind. Just over a week ago that the World Cup came to an end in North America. Something tells me certain Bayern fans will have been really looking forward to the fact that they could return to club affairs, given the fact that the German national team certainly did not fare well, one of the biggest disappointments of the World Cup. Knocked out by Paraguay. ...2013, an historic year when Bayern won their first ever treble under Jupp Heynckes. They did it again under Hansi Flick in 2020, and last season they came very close indeed to a third treble in club history. They won the Bundesliga, they won the DFB Pokal, but in the Champions League they fell short in the semi-finals against Paris Saint-Germain. And that was after beating Real Madrid in the quarter-finals to set the stage. Paris Saint-Germain certainly not undeserving of their place in the Champions League final, where they went on to defend their crown. But there were some rather bizarre decisions made in that match from referee João Pinheiro. Konrad Laimer, who we just featured in regards to his contract extension, was involved in one of the most contentious ones when a moment and a 50-50 involving him and Nuno Mendes looked like Mendes had handled the ball and would have been sent off for a second yellow card, but for some reason Pinheiro and his fellow officials felt that Laimer had handled the ball, and yet there was no VAR review, no real proof that Laimer had touched the ball with his hand into the lead up to what would have been a sending off for Nuno Mendes. But let's not dwell on the past and the pain of last season. Instead, let's focus on the bright future. Bayern 1-0 down as we get ready for the second half to get underway, and as you can see, Armindo Zieb came on during the first half. A young striker who has spent the last few seasons on loan elsewhere in German football. But he is now joined in the second half by Tom Bischoff, João Paulinho, Arihan Ibrahimovic, Sasha Bouquet, and in goal Sven Ulreich. Christoph Freund, the sporting director, promised that there'd be a bit of a different game in the second half. Now it's on Bayern's more experienced players to make that a reality. Bouquet winning the first header over his own teammate, Paulinho. Now Tom Bischoff, his first touch as Bayern's new number 8. He will be the string puller off the bench. And already you can see this game has developed very differently. All of a sudden, Wiesbaden are showing a lot more respect to this Bayern team now that it is not made up purely of teenagers. As Paulinho there, sandwiched between two. Now with Leon Goretzka leaving the club, there is a chance that Paulinho stays in Munich. Here he is on the ball, the Portuguese. And that was a nice pass and a nice idea to find the space that Ajayi was moving into. The stadium announcer just going through all the substitutions made by Wehen Wiesbaden at half-time as well. Wholesale changes for the hosts. Bischoff battling. Now Wehen Wiesbaden with a chance to move the ball forward again. And cross goes into the side netting. Some very famous names have worn the number 8 shirt for Bayern in the past. Uli Hoeneß, Paul Breitner, Lothar Matthäus. Back in the day. More recently, the likes of Dietmar Hamann, Thorsten Frings, Niko Kovac, the legendary Javi Martinez, and of course, most recently, Leon Goretzka. Now the latest name, Tom Bischoff. Bischoff himself has talked about the fact that he's been a Bayern fan since his childhood, used to have Bayern wallpaper up, but he wants to take the next step this season. So he's ready for a bigger role. His dream is to win more titles. And he was on the cusp of going to the World Cup with Germany, the young midfielder. Something tells me if he maintains his current trajectory, there'll be no doubt he'll feature at the next World Cup under a certain Jurgen Klopp, potentially, who has now been confirmed as the new German national team head coach. Lovely turn by Binder. Bouquet with the ball now. Early delivery looking for Armindo Zeeb. Binder picks up the loose ball. Tim Binder. Lovely play by Tim Binder. Tim Binder blocks at the last. Tricky customer. Felipe Chavez to Maicon Cardozo. Two young players that have come off the bench at half-time. Chavez wanted it back but didn't get it. The man who spent the second half of last season on loan with FC Köln. Bouquet to Binder. Lovely ball from Binder. And the follow-up effort is sliced wide by Maicon Cardozo. Part of the FC Bayern World Squad class of 24. Maicon Cardozo. Well, one back by Chavez and Bischoff. Halinia moves it to Ibrahimovic. Combining with Chavez. Chavez gets the shot off, but drags it wide. "19 years old, born in Aichach, but has represented Peru at international level already. Felipe Chavez, 7 appearances for Köln in the second half of last season. He's already got 2 senior appearances for Bayern in the Bundesliga as well. Bit part, substitute roles, and nothing more. But there's a real player in Felipe Chavez, there's no doubt about it. Other players still have a lot to prove, but Chavez has already shown moments that suggest he's got what it takes. Ibrahimovic has as well. The question for many is whether Ibrahimovic's future really is at Bayern. There's no doubt he's Bundesliga quality, but is he Bayern quality? Wants the ball round the corner. Cardozo. Heavy touch lets him down. Scampering to try and win the ball back, and does well to force the mistake out of Jakob Lewald. Cut back from the byline. Not executed the way that Ibrahimovic would have wanted to. Long ball, difficult to deal with, not dealt with, but not capitalised on either. Robin Kalem got wrong side of Filip Pavic. Bounce just evading the young centre-back. And now it's a long ball for Bayern that's worked out to Binder. Sieb is in the middle, busting a gut to get there. Binder twists, he turns, he goes down in the box. Is it a corner or is it a penalty? I believe penalty won by Tim Binder. Isolated his man. Had him guessing what he was going to do next, and that touch there just took it beyond. Justin Janixek brings him down. And it's Bayern's new number 8, Tom Bischoff, ready to shoulder the responsibility. He's taken the available number since Goretzka's departure. Bischoff wants to take the next step. Oh, he squeezes the penalty under Florian Streetzel. It was the Wiesbaden keeper who saved a Harry Kane penalty in the DFB Pokal first round last season. He almost reproduced the heroics to deny Bischoff, but somehow the penalty had enough power and pace to level the scores. Bischoff wants to step up, take more responsibility. First time he had the chance. And he gets the goal to level the scores against Wehen Wiesbaden. The first goal of many as Bayern's new number 8, no doubt, for Tom Bischoff. And for Bayern, it is the first goal of pre-season ahead of the start of the 2026-27 campaign. Pavic does well, dealing with that long ball, much better than the one we saw earlier. Ball goes back to Sven Ulreich via Vincent Monuba, and Ulreich using his experience to his and Bayern's advantage there. Signal from Jakob Lewald, the Wiesbaden centre-back there on your screens, that he can't continue. Looked like he picked up a knock a few minutes ago. He's tried to play through the pain, but unsuccessfully, it appears. And in things like pre-season friendlies, the last thing anyone wants is to pick up injuries. An hour played here at the Britta Arena, in case you're just joining us here on the coverage of what is the first pre-season friendly of the summer for Bayern München. We had a starting lineup of purely teenagers in the first half. The oldest player on the pitch was Guido Della Rovere at the age of 19. As a result, there were a few bumps in the first half performance for Bayern, one that cost them dearly when Ibrahim Atiala opened the scoring after a mistake by young 16-year-old goalkeeper David Podar-Stüber. But the game has taken on a very different complexion in the second half. Bayern have made changes. They brought on some of the bigger guns off the bench. Tom Bischoff, Joao Palhinha, Armindo Zeeb, Arion Ibrahimovic, Sasha Boe, Sven Ulreich have all entered the encounter, and as a result, the second half has taken on a very different complexion. Bayern are much more on the front foot. Wiesbaden showing a lot more respect. Bouquet with a very ambitious high press there, but all over the heels of his opponent. Florian Striezel, he's holding his nerve, even if maybe some of the Wiesbaden fans aren't in the stands. You have to think that game against Bayern at the start of last season would have been a career highlight for Florian Striezel, even if he did concede 3 goals. Those 3 goals were scored by Harry Kane, Michael Olise, and Harry Kane again. Driving run through midfield after Bischoff won the ball. Bischoff continues his run now as Ibrahimovic combines. Bischoff able to turn in the box. Tom Bischoff! And the follow-up effort is a tame one from Tim Binder. Didn't really get the power on the header needed to test Florian Striezel, who was at least equal to Bischoff's first effort. And what a neat bit of play here from Tom Bischoff, and strong wrist from Florian Striezel to keep that one out. And Bischoff's first season with Bayern was one where he very much played as a role player whenever he was needed to slot in whatever position he did. What a ball that is from Florian Striezel. Runners in the middle, but a stumble at the vital moment from Lucas Schleimer. Binder, heavy touch. Zeeb. And Chavez nibbling away. Palhinha brushed off. It needs someone to really grab this game by the scruff of the neck, and Tom Bischoff is trying to do it. Wiesbaden are still a very solid side, much further on in their preparations for the new season. Nice ball in behind. The cutback was cut out by Filip Pavlic. Right now, having conceded through the Tom Bischoff penalty, Wehen Wiesbaden are starting to look like the likelier team to score the next goal. Corner for the home side. Into the mix it goes. Ulreich doesn't really get a hand to the ball, and Bischoff is able to clear. Looked for a pass to Ibrahimovic, but now has to win the ball back again. This time it's a more of a no-nonsense clearance, but this time it does work out for Ibrahimovic, who's in a one-on-one situation. Arihan Ibrahimovic. Support not really arriving. Tim Binder the only one up with him. A moment that peters out, but hasn't died out just yet. Sasha Bouquet, round the corner it goes. Zeeb. Let's go, Bayern score a goal. Is the chance being drummed up as Tom Bischoff goes short with the corner to Ibrahimovic. Now Bouquet with a change of angle and a poor cross at the end of it all. Time for a hydration break. Just over 20 minutes of normal time remaining. Chance to take on some water, some electrolytes, whatever it is that's the order of business. We've had some sweltering temperatures in Germany over the summer. Europe is being hard hit in many corners. As a result, precautionary measures being taken. But unlike at the World Cup, these hydration breaks are for the benefit of the players first and foremost, and not just to be able to squeeze in a few advertisements into a broadcast. And the Britta Arena holds around about 12,000. Not quite sold out today for this pre-season friendly. But when Bayern come to town, they draw big numbers. earlier today. If you followed coverage on FC Bayern TV+, you saw Bayern's women win their first pre-season friendly. They are currently on a tour of Japan. Set to come back to Munich in a couple of days, but a 4-1 victory kicked off their pre-season. But unlike the women, Bayern's men do not have all their options available yet. And ultimately, probably be a while still until Vincent Kompany has the majority of his players back. The players that featured for Germany are due to join up with the team at the Tegensee training camp, which starts on the 27th of July. That includes new signing Nathaniel Brown. Players who will join the team before travelling to the men's Asia Summer Tour will be Luis Diaz, Konrad Laimer and Josip Stanisic. The players that will join the team after they return from Asia will be the likes of Harry Kane, Michael Olise, Dayot Upamecano, Alphonso Davies, Jamal Musiala, Serge Gnabry, Leonard Carl, and new signing Ismail Saibari, who picked up that unfortunate injury in the World Cup where he was one of the stars. And that was before he picked up an injury in Morocco's game against France. A player that Bayern fans and players will be familiar with, given the fact that he was on the books at PSV Eindhoven, and he was certainly a menace in the Champions League meeting between those two sides last season. Something tells me that's when he caught the eye of Bayern, and they were savvy enough to get the deal done before the World Cup kicked off, even if it wasn't officially announced until the beginning of July. According to the stadium announcer, exactly 12,000 fans are inside the Britta Arena. Ball worked out wide to Sacha Bouquet. Not easy to control. The break is on here for Wiesbaden. Pass recovered well, space to work with. 3 red shirts in the middle, but that's a poor pass. Still the chance alive. Shot blocked. More pressure invited. Bischoff goes back to Ulreich. A bit of a blow to the face for Filip Pavic and one to the back of the head. That brings a stop to proceedings. The referee not wanting to take any chances. Nicolas Agrafiotis is the one that's come off second best for the home side. Pavic goes down clutching his nose. nice to see the development in professional football over recent years, where head injuries are taken a lot more seriously than they ever used to be. Sven Ulreich talking to some of the younger players. All of them so keen to make an impression, because it will not have been lost on them the fact that Vincent Kompany made a habit of giving opportunities to youngsters, giving debuts to teenagers last season. In amongst all the glory in goals and the title-winning accomplishments, the desire to re-establish the connection between Bayern's senior squad and the academy has certainly been a priority for Vincent Kompany, and it's played out as such. Lennart Karl gave every Bayern Academy player the chance to dream that they could follow in his footsteps. Chavez, Balinha. Manuba finds Bischoff. Bischoff breaks the lines to Chavez. Chavez, this is a nice play, looking for the 1-2. He was blocked off in his attempts to get on the end of the return ball, but no foul given by the referee. Clipped round the corner, it's a lovely ball. Cardoso, devilish delivery, and Binder did his best to get on the end of it, but couldn't quite get there. Some really nice moments for Bayern in this second half, but no real extended phase where they are firmly on top and creating chances for fun. There's a lot of dominance without a lot of end product. But it does feel like there's a winning goal in this game. Will Bayern's control and pressure finally tell? Or will Wiesbaden maybe capitalise on another moment on the counter-attack? Ball in behind Sacha Bouquet, who uses his physicality to good effect there. Driving between the lines, Cardoso puts the ball one side, tries to go the other, is taken out by David Suarez. Free kick for Bayern, just outside the penalty area. All of a sudden, it is Maicon Cardoso for Bayern, injecting a bit of pace into proceedings. Talked about the fact that being at Bayern is a dream come true. Said he always used to play with them on various video games. Now he's training with the team. He's playing with some of the best players in Europe. Describes himself as a bit like Philippe Coutinho, who had a nice little spell with Bayern back in the day, the Brazilian. Cardoso could still represent Brazil or Portugal in the future, depending on what takes his fancy. For now, he and Bischoff stand over the ball. It is Bischoff, and Striezel wasn't going to be beaten in that bottom corner for a second time by Bayern's new number 8. The penalty squeezed past him. The free kick, he turns behind for a corner. Good effort, though, from Tom Bischoff. It's one thing to talk about taking more responsibility, it's another thing to do it. Ibrahimovic tried to get back. Oh, the cross! Just over the head, but Wiesbaden still with the chance. Looking for a second goal. Oh, Ulreich recovers once, but not twice, and Wiesbaden restore the lead. Sven Ulreich claims that he had control of the ball. The officials didn't see it that way. He rescued the situation once. But it's Luca Schleimer who puts Wiesbaden back in front. Chance kept alive by Doni Bogacevic. His effort spilled. Ulreich did not really have that under full control. And in the end, Lucas Schleimer is the grateful recipient. Two goals, truth be told, that Bayern have gifted Wiesbaden, as opposed to Wiesbaden really carving out themselves. And Bayern have come from behind once to level the scores. Can they do it a second time? This game certainly took on a very different complexion in the second half. Despite being more dominant and more in control of the game, they haven't really made it count, the German record title holders. And Wehen Wiesbaden do what plucky underdogs do, and they took their chance when it came to them. Yeah, it's all getting a bit feisty down by the sidelines, and the linesman almost felt he needed to get involved. Oh, Paulinho. Neat turn, but the nutmeg wasn't pulled off as successfully. Zeeb to Ibrahimovic. Wiesbaden want more. All out wide, cut out by Cardoso, who read the situation well. Strong challenge. Cardoso stays down, but is now back to his feet as Chavez gets it back from Ibrahimovic. Ball out wide from Paulinho to Cardoso. Ibrahimovic makes his move in open space for Zeeb. Battling away Armindo Zeeb. Bundled over Armindo Zeeb, but no foul given. Ulreich off his line to snuff out the danger. Vincent Kompany, as we mentioned in the first half, will not have been expecting perfection by any stretch of the imagination. He fielded a team of teenagers. Bischoff, one of the more established stars, now trying to turn the tides in the second half, but despite scoring from the penalty spot, Bischoff, Bayern have since conceded again and are facing up to a losing start in pre-season in the 2026-27 campaign. Wiesbaden having to take the sting out of the situation. Pavic penalised. Niklas Mai making friends with Bischoff and Ibrahimovic. Cross comes in. I needed a better delivery. And there was a third goal there for Wiesbaden, but it might come now. Oh! What an effort from the angle. Ultimately, an effort that drifts just wide. Courtesy of the goal scorer of Wiesbaden's second, Lukas Schleimer. Palinha, nice ball to break the lines for Chavez. Forced away from goal, Felipe Chavez. 2 minutes of time added on. 1 minute has already been played. Binder. That's a lovely ball from Palinha. Flick down to Bouquet. Blocked. Corner. One that might be the last piece of action from Bayern's first pre-season friendly of the 26-27 season. Corner, flicked on. Pavlic was waiting, but wasn't ready. Binder looked to dip into his bag of tricks. Not quite as successful as he was earlier when he won the penalty for Bayern. And the first pre-season friendly of the 26-27 campaign ends in defeat for Vincent Kompany. Shorn of all his World Cup stars, he started today's game with a team of teenagers. He ends it with some senior squad players in the mix. But Wiesbaden, to their credit, good value for a 2-1 win. It gave some of Bayern's youngsters a real test. The stars will return eventually, and when they do, Bayern will likely get back to winning ways. For now, we go back to Simon Kupfer in the studio. While Martin's had to check makes his way down to the sidelines for some post-match interviews. We do know that Bayern want to get their trip from Wiesbaden back to Munich underway as soon as possible, so something tells me they won't be hanging around at the Britta Arena. They've got a first training camp in Tegensee starting next week, and then of course the Asian tour that takes them to South Korea and Hong Kong. A draw would have been a fair result in this game. Bayern were significantly better in the second half when they brought on some more established names. Tom Bischoff, goal scorer, who made it 1-1 after the penalty won by Tim Binder. One of the bigger winners from today, someone who caught the eye. There's a little bit of Leonard Karl about his game. A tricky customer, fleet-footed, and that fleet-footed nature saw him felled by Janicek as Bayern won a penalty that allowed Tom Bischoff, one of the half-time substitutes, to convert from the spot, albeit with a little bit of luck, as Simon points out. Man who has taken over the number 8 from Leon Goretzka said he wants to take the next steps, says he wants to take more responsibility. And this is a good way to send an early signal of intent for Tom Bischoff, who clearly has a very bright future with Bayern. And definitely will play a bigger role this season. Tim Binder once again involved when Bayern initiated another promising moment. Bischoff with the shot in the end from a tight angle, and Florian Stritzel with a good save equal to it. And ultimately the follow-up effort from Binder was never really going to trouble Stritzel, but this was lovely bit of play from Tom Bischoff. Didn't necessarily know he had that in his locker. But then again, he's never really needed to in his time as a Bayern player so far. And then the winning goal for Wehen Wiesbaden. Sven Ulreich spilled the ball, saved the first follow-up effort, but unable to keep the second out. And as a result, Wehen Wiesbaden capitalizing on an unlucky day for Bayern's goalkeepers.
Dass sie hinten raus auch die Power, die Konzentration haben, das dann noch zu Ende zu spielen und da wirklich final mit dran zu bleiben. Lukas Schleimer, also das 2-1.
Lukas Schleimer, the match winner for the third tier side. The club celebrating an anniversary, and as a result their celebrations boosted by a 2-1 win against Bayern after Bayern beat them narrowly 3-2 in the cup first round last season. This time it is Wiesbaden's turn for a narrow victory. Next week we will have live training sessions from Tegernsee on Bayern's various channels and free to view. I will be your host for those, so you can join me Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday for live training, and then the next friendly will be against Rotach-Egen. This is becoming part of a pre-season tradition for Bayern to face the lower league side in the build-up to a new campaign. And then the Audi Football Summit takes Bayern to South Korea, where they will take on Jeju SK at the Jeju World Cup Stadium. And then a final friendly in Asia. The first is in South Korea, the second is in Hong Kong 3 days later. And again, Aston Villa, the opponents, FC Bayern.